A new month has arrived. Don't look now. It's May. Yeah, that's right, man.
You're breaking that news?
I'm breaking the news.
We didn't know that?
I'm making a declaration. Winter's over. Walked this morning. It was gorgeous, beautiful. And I said, guess what? Winter's out. She's gone. Mother Nature has departed the building. Summer's on. And you know, we only have 7 more weeks before the days start getting shorter. Don't know if you... Yeah, June 21st is when the days start to get shorter. We're building up longer days right now. So get out and enjoy. Get off your Adirondack rocking chair. Walk around a little bit and get some vitamin D.
You don't know what I've been doing or not been doing.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. 3 guys before the game, we got a good one for you. Our special guest, Mountaineer standout Reed Williams. This is episode number 374. 3 guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, your full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com. And by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty-forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. They also happen to own the West Texas Warbirds of the Arena Football.
I don't know that they own them.
Huh?
I don't know that they own them. That might be a little overstating it.
Oh, I thought...
Might be invested in the Warbirds, but... probably don't own him. Well, I haven't talked to Phil in a couple days. He might own him by now.
I just had an idea. Seriously, dude. I just had an idea.
Yeah.
We need to get the Burdett logo patch on their jerseys. That's the next one. Done. We're in, Phil. We're doing that. Coming up on our program, your listener text questions. Got a lot of stuff going on since the last time we chatted. Emmett Matthews. Should we like one of those TV news stations? As first reported here. Should we do that? As we first reported, Emmett Matthews is back at West Virginia University. We'll get into that. Had a weekend visit in the Mountaineer basketball program. We can chat about that and other things. But first things first, we got a dude that actually works for a living, so we might as well not waste any of his time. Please welcome one of the all-time great West Virginians, Mr. Reed Williams. Hello, sir. How are you?
Gentlemen, it is a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to get in the room with you guys. I was telling you a little bit before we got on air. Usually I can try to prep for a conversation before we sit down, but with you 3, the time we've spent together, I have no idea where this one's going.
Good. Thank you very much.
That's about right. That's a good scouting report because we don't know either.
So,
go
ahead.
Let me point out, Tony, there's a season between winter and summer. Please don't wish away my spring, please.
Well, I get it.
I need it so badly.
I understand, but now you would agree. Here's the biggest problem people create for themselves every single year, and here it is, Reed. They don't fully respect where we are right now. They do not realize that days are, every single day we go on here, they're getting longer, which means more bright and light. But here's what happens. On June the 21st, days start to get shorter, and people go, well, God, what's going on here? So all I'm saying is embrace this time of the year.
Hold on. You think you got to tell this guy that's on the phone about days being long?
Exactly.
I mean, my man doesn't come in until there's darkness.
Well, he knows.
You don't need to tell him.
What are you're acting like you're breaking news.
He does this every year.
They don't respect it.
Every year.
Guess what?
People don't respect this, Hoppy. They're not enjoying it. They don't embrace it properly. We don't get a whole lot of good weather. We don't get a whole lot of light. Reach into it. Lean into this light that we have before it becomes darkness.
I am not taking.
Now, Hoppy's an old farm boy, if I recall correctly. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. And, Reed, I defer to you. You know exactly about the length of the day. And, by the way, so do most people.
Not really. Not really. They really don't. They don't appreciate city folks don't.
For those who don't know, Reed is a farmer, and I mean a real farmer.
A real farmer. Okay, so let's jump into this.
Learning how to be a real farmer.
You're real.
Yeah,
Don't
stop underselling it.
So we're recording around lunchtime. Give me an example, and I'm just guessing here. What type of vehicles or implements have you operated so far today? Where have you had your hands on various steering wheels moving certain things? What's your day been
Incorporate
today?
all machinery into that.
All machinery.
Any kind of machinery today.
What have you touched today machinery-wise?
Well, God bless the industrial revolution, right? So I've turned the key on probably a half dozen machines today. Otherwise, it's me with a handle, which I'm trying to fire. Age catches up quickly, especially when you've donned the old gold and blue, right? So
Yeah.
it is the chickens have been tended.
There we go.
The cows have been fed. The ground is being tendered. We're about ready to poke some corn in the ground. And the cows need worked and put out to pasture. So it's go time, fellas. Let's go.
Awesome.
I'm ready.
You know, Reed, my brother is a farmer, and he is in soybeans and corn. I talked to him a week ago, and he was struggling he has a new planter. He bought it last year, and things are so sophisticated now, he was struggling to figure out the software because, you know, Tony, this is really neat because you can make these settings so that the planter will determine the appropriate depth that you plant depending on what the soil is and you know how much fertilizer to apply. So, but it's all software driven.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to know all that. Reed, are you guys into that? You're probably into all that stuff, right?
Well, I have a basic knowledge of it, but I don't have a working knowledge of it. Over here in the hills of West Virginia, we only have smaller tracts of ground. As you get over into Jefferson County, they've got the bigger machines, the bigger implements. I'll tell you what, man, I don't know if I can afford that right now. Some of these things are astronomical expense-wise, but we're more of an old-fashioned mechanical operation for our corn planting. It's not the old checkerboard way they had to pop it in the ground with strings back in the day like my grandfather did it. But so we've advanced past that. But it's amazing the tech side of agriculture today. If you love tech and you like being outside, there's absolutely an opportunity for you to get in agriculture and live the life you want to be. I can't stand it behind the desk, guys. I've tried it. I mentioned to you today that it's such a beautiful day. I thought about trying to have this conversation inside for an hour and a half. I said, hey, man, I got to get outside and go. So let's go enjoy this day. But additionally, here's some news for you, gang. There's wedding planning going on in my house right now. So
I was wondering about that.
What? Hey, wait. Excuse me. What's going on?
Well, she quit dragging her feet. Right? So yeah, my beautiful fiance Haley Labossiere, and I shout out to her. She'll love that. We're getting it done. We're trying to do it in a timely fashion. Small event, family oriented, but we're excited about it, man. She's a great girl. I'm very lucky to have her. But that's news to me, man. Farming is the escape right now. Wedding planning is real.
Yeah,
very real.
When is it?
We're looking at September.
Yeah, right during
September
football.
into the fall.
Does that mean? Wait a minute.
Here we go,
Brad.
We're gonna have a staffing question, HR conversation.
Yeah, here we go.
I mean,
hey, this is above my pay grade, fellas.
Sorry,
You're
Hop.
going to have to go to the top on this one.
Sorry, Hop. You're right. Hey,
listen,
let me
Reed,
ask you this.
Reed, you're part of our broadcast for the first few games in the fall. We were not consulted about this wedding date.
I'm not sure
Well,
Reed was
I'll tell you
consulted.
I will put her in direct contact with you, Hop.
Thank you.
Take it from there.
That's what he needs.
He is sidestepping that.
Yeah, he needs that because I don't know if you follow it, Reed. You know, during the off season, he's gotten really he's gotten different. He's just starting blind rages and yelling out at people. It's getting kind of sad. But anyway, that's for another show. Was the maiden name of your fiance? Has that got an Italian sound to it by any chance?
It's French, Labossiere.
Oh, is that what you? I thought you
Labossiere.
said. Oh, I thought you said Debasio. Okay, so so French. Very nice.
Well, you have to forgive my dialect here, man. I'm from the hills. I speak Old English, so we don't get a lot of Labossieres around here.
Yeah. So where is she from originally?
She is a local girl. That what we have found in our area, there are a lot of imports, I think, that come in and kind of fall in love with the area.
Right.
Her grandfather was in forestry and gained favor in Grant County, which would be Petersburg would be the town seat, which is the town over. We met a few years back, and the history's written from here, right?
Awesome,
we'll see how it works out. Excited about it. Yep.
Congratulations. How many chickens on average are you guys holding now on the farm?
So we have 4 chicken houses, 3 of which are 400 feet long. The 4th is 500 feet. They're about 40 to 50 feet wide, and right now we have about 100,000 birds.
Whoa.
At what stage of development are they in there? From when to when?
So they're about halfway. We actually will only have them for a duration of about 5 weeks. Actually, they're a little bit over halfway. It's day 21 today. Growing well. Commercial poultry is a story in itself. Hoppy, I need you to look into this one for me a little bit.
Okay.
Since the dawn of antibiotic-free, commercial poultry is totally different, and it has been this challenge that we're not used to. But yeah, man, it's in a given year we'll push, 7 flocks, about 4 pounds a bird. We're looking at, what's that fast math? Is that 2.8 million pounds a year?
Wow.
Off the top of my head, is that about right?
Wow.
I didn't do the math, but
And so from there, they take them, and then how much more are they raised before they're processed?
That is full maturity. So
Okay.
we have 35 days, and they'll grow to about 4 pounds. And then from there, they'll be processed here locally at our facility in Moorefield, West Virginia. If you have driven through Hardy County or Moorefield or the surrounding area, you will smell what this place is about, right? So it is ag through and through. It's commercial poultry, and then we have the timber cabinetry side of things through American Woodmark. So this is an old ag town, man, and people take great pride in what they do, and they should, because they've made a living doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I know this because I had an aunt who was into poultry, is that not every chicken makes it. And every day there's dead chickens. So are you the one that goes through each of the chicken houses and collects the ones that have passed away during the night?
That's a three guys first for a question. Never had that one asked before.
But you know what I'm talking about, Reed.
Unfortunately, I do. I grew up doing that. So when I was a kid, my father told me, either I'm playing sports or I'm working on the farm. So my goodness, I played every sport that I could. But right now thankfully, we've got some great help. Jason Arnold, shout out. He joined us at the beginning of the year, and he's really been a poultry house manager for us. He's doing a great job. But that is a big part of it today, Hop. You nailed it. As antibiotic-free comes in, we can't address some of the issues that we see in a condensed space. So you do have higher levels of mortality, and it's something that we're trying to constantly learn and adapt to. But we're moving closer to year 10, and we still don't have the answers to it.
Wow.
So last year, the first 4 flocks of the year, I think we picked up what we would call levels of mortality, 30,000 birds.
Wow.
Mic
Amazing.
drop.
By the way,
Yeah,
That's a big
there's a
number.
whole nother world that goes on there that people just don't know.
2.8 million pounds. If you do 700,000 chickens a year, of course some die, 2.8 million pounds times 4.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
About 4 pounds a bird.
Can you go in and grab a couple for the house? I mean, do you do that at all, or how do you eat your chicken?
Here, get this kicker. The birds aren't technically mine until they pass on to the next life. They are the integrator's birds until then.
So where do you get when you eat chicken, where is it coming from?
Kroger.
It's not coming out of the chicken house. I'm getting it at our local food line.
How about that?
Yes, sir.
How about that?
It's a different world. It's not like the backyard chicken of old. We actually can't have backyard chickens on our farm. It's against protocol. So we have to go to the store to get ours.
I get it.
Reed, go back to your day, your daily activities. Most difficult, most taxing part of your day is what?
Oh, outside of wedding planning, you know what? Right now, it would be, I think, the most challenging that you can get on top of and stay on top of is that poultry side of things, trying to keep those birds that may show up weak alive. But labor-wise, we have it in a pretty good place. We've been able to invest enough money where we can, put equipment in front of us and underneath of us, so we don't have to work so hard and save our backs a little bit. It's getting ready to be that one of those times of year where it's extremely busy, where you're trying to plant corn and work cattle. And then again in the fall during harvest, where you're trying to chop corn and get all those things done, get very busy. I mean, we're working, 10, 12-hour days about every day. Try to take Sunday off. Thank the good Lord above for allowing for good weather and the rain to keep coming down.
Yeah.
Reed, I refer to my brother, and he loves, just like you, he loves being outside. He loves operating the equipment. He loves being in the field. You know what he hates? He hates the paperwork, number one.
Of course.
Associated with it. And also that stuff breaks down. So you're out doing something, and then like, oh, gosh, I'm broke down. That's what hits you, doesn't it? Like you're doing something, making progress. All of a sudden you're broke down. You're going to depart. You can't get the part, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and a lot of these responsibilities have to be done in a timely fashion, so you have a window of opportunity. And when you break down, You might not. You might have that lag time, especially we've seen that through this pandemic where we just can't get the parts like we used to, or the labor that we need. So that lead time gets longer, and it does become increasingly difficult. The worst part about it is when I worked in an office, if something broke, I could call the IT guy. Now I'm the IT guy. I've got to cuss myself and then just keep on moving, right? Get it done, move on, let's go. There's enough to do. Just try to keep that headspace right.
Gotcha. How old are you now?
I turned 35 in January.
Does your body hurt when you wake up because of football?
There are some specific areas that are have more acute pain. Absolutely. Really, I think my personal tale as a Mountaineer really, unfortunately, ended up plagued by injury, and I feel that today. Thank goodness for Kelly Ball and his team and the guys that put me back together. But for a while there, I was, kind of like their Frankenstein. And it got difficult not only physically but mentally. When that continues to happen to you, boy, it weighs on you in so many different ways.
Yeah. What a career, dude. I don't need to tell you that. Second all-time in career wins with 43. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl Defensive Player of the Game against Oklahoma, 7 tackles, 2 TFLs, forced fumble. Career best, 11 tackles in the Gator Bowl against Florida State, 7 career forced fumbles, tied for 4th all-time. Not bad for a little yellow jacket from Moorefield.
Not bad, man. Tony, I think I was really fortunate. We walk into that situation, and you have an idea of how this career is going to play out, right? Injury aside, those things happen. But I was able to step into a room. I was recruited by Bill Stewart, a West Virginia guy. I played under Jeff Castillo as not only the linebacker coach, but the defensive coordinator, a guy who shared my same mentality. And then on top of that, Rich Rod. So our vision was clear. It was linear. There was no deviation. I was trying to do the same things that they wanted me to do. And when those things line up, all you have to do is put in the work, and the outcome will take place.
It meant more for you, obviously, because you were a West Virginian.
Well, man, I was the kid that, my family would go out to Mountaineer games, park on 705, tailgate out of the back of the car, walk into the game. I was that little, man, I looked like, if you guys have ever seen King of the Hill, and this is a throwback, probably aging me a little bit, I looked like Bobby Hill, right? I was that little fat kid with the buzz cut. That's probably what explains. That's probably what explains my running ability later on in life. But it was something like I've grown up listening to you guys, right? I've had the opportunity to fulfill that dream that I always had as a young man, and I've been so fortunate, and you're really in this moment. It's like it's coming full circle. It's like I feel like this conversation could almost get to, like a dissertation level conversation, because we can. The four of us know each other well enough. I'm fortunate to say that not only have I listened to you as a fan, but I've got to know you professionally, and then I've worked beside you as a colleague in some capacity. So this thing could go so many different ways, and I'm excited about how deep. Like I thought, should I just lean back and kick my feet in the air and just really dive into this thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tony and Reed works with us on some of our games, although he's not going to be available for a couple Saturdays, I think, this coming fall. But and we invite him in, and you never quite know because he's not trained in that capacity. But Brad, you can speak to this. I mean, he came in and was instantly very comfortable behind the microphone. I think that's because he knows the game. He's very comfortable in his skin. And what he provides in our broadcast, I think, is invaluable because he sees things so clearly and is able to articulate what he's seeing, Brad.
Very well said. Reed is as good as there is at somebody that has not done it and able to step in and go right with the whole entire broadcast. So, Reed, stay there for a second. Coaching versus broadcasting. Similarities, differences, what'd you like about each?
Oh, man, coaching, I was still so passionate about the game. Let me dive into that for a second. When I finished up playing, I had so much passion to give back to it. You feel like it's almost ripped away, so you immediately dive into coaching. But I try to live my life by some foundational principles, my faith, my family, and service to fellow man. Coaching requires you to pull so much of your time away from family. That was so difficult. Now, in the broadcast booth, you can still maintain that closeness to the game, that passion for the game, and you might not be tasked with so much personal sacrifice. To me, that would be the biggest differentiating factor.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
But in terms of prep, I mean, the film study, who's the opponent this week, who are their guys, a lot of those things, Brad, are really the same. Maybe not to, we're not going to, get it down to the nth degree, but you can really prepare in the same way and then, not have your paycheck on the line at the end of the day.
Yeah, I want to ask you, I'm going to coach you up here a little bit. If you're moving, we're getting a little wind, so find a spot, and I want you to go into a 3-point stance, and just wouldn't that be fair, Hoppy?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Just like or like he's giving the play call in the huddle to the defense, and he's got them shrouded around him so the wind stops blowing. But anyway, that's all good.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah. Don't walk in anyone's house that isn't expecting you just so you get a play.
He knows
mind if I use
there.
mind if I use your living room here? Just I'll be in and out. Not a problem at all. That sounds good right there.
I think I actually know the guy. I think I know the guy mowing the grass. That's Ralph. Ralph does a great job taking care of this place.
Of course he does. Why wouldn't he?
So
how is that? I've taken a seat.
Perfect.
And trying to use the body to block the wind.
Perfect.
It's great because I don't want our listener
coachable. Reed's
well,
coachable.
sure he is.
Yeah,
sure he is.
Hey, I listened to Jarrett Brown in a barber shop the other day. and you're worried about the wind.
Dude, well, let me say something. Let me say this to you, big boy. Jarrett cast a new rule on 3 guys before the game. He will always be one of the founding fathers of the no noise rule during interviews. We had a little situation.
No haircut.
We had a little situation, as you can tell. But we're trying to move away from that and move ahead, and we certainly do appreciate your time. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You come from a very small, obviously, high school, but Moorefield was a state power when you guys were there. You win it in 2001, 2003, runner-up in 02, semifinals in 04. You go 45-8 in your prep career. So you knew how to win. However, it's small school football, and this is, for lack of a better term, big boy football. Did you have any or significant doubt when you came here that you would be able to climb to that level?
Yeah, I've reflected on that on more than one occasion. I think that we had here in Moorefield, before my time there, my brother who played at West Virginia, before it, and we have to point to that because it had such a personal influence on me. He won 4 state championships. So we had confidence, and we still have that confidence. The guys that were in that locker room being trained by coaches that would go on and get a shot collegiately. Alan Fiddler was a guy that we have to point and give a lot of credit to for that success that Moorefield had in the late 90s and the early 2000s. He had us rolling. We had a weight program. We knew what we had to do, and he really helped me get recruited. My brother, watching his process, his recruitment, we learned so much about the collegiate game through him. When Justin, affectionately known as Whitey in Morgantown, went out, as a big guy, and really, I was the first guy from Moorefield that, wasn't this big grass-fed offensive lineman like we had in Brian Washington and my brother Justin Williams. So there were question marks, but I also had, to answer your question, I don't think I ever lacked confidence. I can't say, if life will kind of train that out of you, but in those days, it was unshakable. I knew I belonged, and I knew I had the level of intelligence to be able to comprehend and communicate with my teammates, which I think is one of the most important pieces of making it happen. But also, I had this massive chip on my shoulder. I was the third of 3 collegiate athletes in my family. My brother went out to WVU, obviously, and it didn't go the way he wanted it to go. He was a product of a coaching change, and it didn't work out for him. My sister was a collegiate softball player at Fairmont State. She tried it for a year, and she was ready to move on into her professional career. So my family had to hear a lot of those things. So when I'm coming home, I'm in our area, and I'm hearing about those things. I'm like, come on now. So not only am I playing for myself and my brother and my sister, But I'm playing for this area to prove everybody that I can do this and that I'm supposed to be here. So it goes past just confidence. There is so much to be said for putting in the work when you have a chip on your shoulder.
Let's talk about.
I guess at this point, Tony, multiple chips off the shoulder. Right?
Yeah, I get you. No, so I've always wondered this. Your brother left the team before you got here. Did him leaving the team ever put into doubt that you were going to come here?
No, it didn't. And it was a conversation that he and I had directly. If anything, it may have reiterated that fact. He was a product. He committed under Don Nealon. Bill Legg was his position coach, and when Rich came in, he brought in Rick Trickett, and they just didn't see eye to eye. And it happens to so many collegiate athletes, especially today. But we had a real and open conversation about things. He had the same dream that I had, and he did not want his experience to affect me as his little brother. You talk about, a difficult conversation to have for him. So kudos to him. Without him and without, his experience, that I would not have been able to experience the level of success I did in Morgantown.
Yeah. Well, that's well said. That's well said. And I think some people may have missed that point of it. I always wondered, I thought, well, Justin's gone. This isn't gonna happen, and yet it did. You mentioned a bunch of coaches there. Your brother gets signed when Coach Nealon's here. You play for Rich. Stu recruits you during that time, and then Stu becomes the head coach. I mean, you talk about a full spectrum in the history of WVU football. That is something else. Firstly,
well, and
you go ahead.
Please.
No, go right ahead.
Well, and we can't overlook. I think oftentimes when we talk about coaching, we always talk about the guys upstairs. And for the listeners that don't know what upstairs means, they are the position coaches. They're the head coach, the coordinators, and the position coaches. But the guys downstairs are, if not more important, at least equal to. Mm-hmm. And I had Mike Borowitz and Mike Joseph. And if I think about those two coaches, and really it's akin to Rich and Coach Stu, what one of them was, the other one was not. Vice versa, if that makes any sense. So it was like I had this complete picture of what I needed that coach to be for, half, more or less played out for half of my collegiate career. Then we split and we do it again.
Did you ever get a clean hit on Pat White when you had a full go scrimmage?
Whoa. You were asking me to hit that guy?
Come on, Hoppy.
I just
no
wondered.
Way.
Persona non grata. You can't touch him.
If anybody tries to do that, it's on. Like, I would fight myself. If I hit No way. That guy, I mean, you talk about special. We were defensively, we were so fortunate to play on that side of the ball when Pat and Steve and Owen and Darius Raynaud and Tavon and Jock Sanders and Noel Devine. Are you kidding me? These guys were electric. So all we had to do was keep them on the field, right? Just get them on the field.
Yeah. Do you have?
Hold on one second. He gave you a good coaching list. Did you hear the list of those guys you just rattled off right there?
I take every
in a short amount of time.
I take every single one of them. I'll take every. Did you have an epiphany moment involving Pat White when he came onto the field in a practice where you're setting up? Okay, you're a middle linebacker and you're sitting there and you're watching, and this cat gets under center and he does something. Do you recall a moment where you went like, "Oh my goodness"?
All right, so I got to go back. So I'm a freshman at that point, so every day is an epiphany for me when you're 18, living in towers, trying to make that world work in your own mind. But to be honest, I think we always knew that Pat was the guy. We would see it in practice, and you were trying to figure out, because at the beginning of that 05 season, they were back and forth between Bednarik and Pat, and you knew who the winner was going to be. You knew, Bednarik could do some different things with his arm, but Pat was a young guy that already had respect in the locker room, and what he could do with a ball in his hands, you couldn't keep him off the field for long. So I don't think it came to us as a surprise to any of us. I think it was really only a matter of time. It's like when I get back to summer drills when Tavon Austin shows up, and you're doing agility drills. We're talking 4 cones, and you've got Noel Devine competing against Jock Sanders, and then this freshman shows up that hasn't played yet, and you're like, that guy's probably going to play in the NFL, right?
It's all
like when Bruce Irvin shows up, you're like,
It's all in the feet,
Good for
man.
us.
Yeah. Exactly. Growing up, as you said, you tailgate on 7:05, and then you go into the stadium and you watch the games. Then one day you're on the field and playing in the games. Could you describe what it was like on that field as a West Virginian on a Saturday?
I remember as a freshman, I always sat up in like the corner. I can't remember the section number, but it's above the student section, right above the student section in that upper corner. And, man, it almost gives me chills. I'm about to cry. Excuse me. Boy, you get emotional with age, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Just ask Hoppy. He's constantly crying. Yeah.
There's no reason for that. I'm trying to leak, but I would go to those games with the guys that I played high school ball with, right? And we have a very tight-knit brotherhood. I mean, there are like 10 to 12 of us. So we're all about brothers, and the ones that aren't brothers are, brothers by choice. But anyway, as a freshman, I got to go on. I didn't redshirt, so I was playing special teams as a true freshman. Can't get it out, guys.
Oh, I like this. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. I like it. I like it.
I would point to that section, and I could see,
oh, wow.
10 to 12 guys jumping up and down.
Oh, I love this. Yeah. So you'd walk out on the field, you'd kind of pull the football version of Babe Ruth. You'd kind of point up to your boys, and you could see those guys going like, that's right, you're our guy, let's go.
Every kickoff, man, like it was yesterday. Like that one, I haven't thought about that in years. Whew.
That's awesome. That is good stuff.
Right there.
That's good stuff, man.
It is. No wonder your wife-to-be loves you. You got a heart, like your heart. You got a big heart, and it's out there.
He's a warm guy.
He's accessible. He's emotionally accessible,
and he's very agreeable. That's why he's getting married in September. Yeah. Very agreeable as well.
Hey Reed, I got married in September too. I got married in September too, and I said it's the off week. It won't be a problem. I never thought that that not every year would be the off week. So it's our anniversary. My wife says, "What are we doing?" I'm like, well, I'm doing a TCU game. I'm not sure what you're doing, but.
That'll happen.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say, in regards to that selected time is the fall has produced magic for me in my short lifespan here, and I think we're going to have some fireworks in September too.
Oh, I like that.
What's the date again? My anniversary is the 21st of September. What's yours? What's yours going to be?
We're close to that. I cannot yet release it.
Nor location.
I know better than these things.
All right.
You're leading. I will not.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I don't know why you got to keep badgering the guy. I mean, Brad, don't you think he's going a little bit?
Why didn't your wedding day's a secret? I didn't know when's your wedding day a secret?
Hoppy all of a sudden becomes Dear Abby.
The invitations aren't out yet. Invitations next step.
All right.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking at your numbers here, dude. Your very first game as a Mountaineer was against Syracuse on September the 4th. That was your first ever game. You remember that one? That was that wild.
Was that at Syracuse?
That was without a touchdown. Remember?
It was.
Eric Wicks.
It was unfortunately for. I go back, Jason Colson was the starting tailback at that time too,
exactly.
right? We put the ball on the ground a few times, and Wicks, he saved the day.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the turn of the tide, as I remember in my mind. You knew some things had to change at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm a true freshman running down on kickoff, and I remember the first time I ever ran in my first collegiate play. I'm the 2, so I'm the outside guy. I'm supposed to really run down and bust somebody's head for the kickoff team. And I run down, I get double teamed. Both of my feet leave the ground. The guy just looks at me and just, he's Meta. He ended up being an NFL fullback, and I understood why immediately the second I stepped onto that field. But it was a rude awakening to the game, and it told me exactly, what I needed to do to try to stay on that field.
Yeah. You heard the much talked about haircut episode with Jarrett Brown, so I asked him this question. He had a pretty good answer. I said, what was it like playing for Rich? And I'll turn it around for you. What was that like to play for Rich?
It was, I think there was an expectation. We were starting to win at that point. But I don't think, Coach Rod ever allowed himself to he never allowed himself to think about losing. That didn't enter the conversation in the days of the hard edge and holding the rope. You were expected to do right, not only in the weight room, on the field, in the classroom, in the community. He had a level of expectation that you had to live up to, and it was all about success on the field and growing as a young man and projecting yourself forward into the future. Mm-hmm. It was tough love, though. I mean, when Mike Barwas is the disciplinarian, the dragon, it's don't make a mistake, right? There was fear in that locker room, right? Like when I remember in winter conditioning, where you have to get up at 5 a.m. and get tortured for the tour of duty, which probably doesn't exist anymore. You don't even sleep the night before, knowing that you're about to be pushed past a physical level you have never seen nor felt before. And I think you could point to several instances, the hill, the summer conditioning, the things that we were asked to do physically. There was no question that we were going to finish that fourth quarter stronger than our opponent, and that was the expectation.
Yeah.
There was no stepping away from that.
Yeah, that's well said.
Stay on that question, but let's roll it forward to a couple others. Reed, what was it like, number one, to play for Jeff Castile, who's obviously back now in an analyst role, and then give us your best Stu story? All of us that know Stu walk out there with multiple stories, but we can all say at the drop of a hat, what's your best Stu story? So give us Castile first, then your favorite Bill Stewart story.
So I would say that, and let me preface it with this. I had the opportunity to go on and coach for a year as a GA in Arizona with both Rich and Jeff, which I think I can – I think I can call them by their first name. Now I'm not totally.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Weird.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
You know how you see that. Your fourth grade teacher. She's still Mrs. Kesner.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Castile, he was as authentic as you could ask for in a guy. I mean, he was I've been very fortunate to have father figures in my life. He is one of them. And now he's a friend. He became a colleague, and now he's a friend. That guy was, and I mentioned it earlier, I feel like he and I are akin spiritually almost. He would never say that. He'd look at me weird if I said something like that.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I mean exactly what I'm saying. He is as tough as he loves. And that's exactly what you want in a coach. It's exactly what you need from a guy who's going to lead your defense. He's going to be the guy who pushes you, who's spitting tobacco in your face as a sophomore who can't get right. But then he's the same guy who expects you to lead his team 2 years later and will pat you on the ass and tell you what a great job you're doing for him every chance he gets. When you get that in a coach, do not enter the transfer portal. Stick around and make sure it makes sense for you long term. Jeff Castile was that guy for me.
Yeah.
Bill Stewart, oh man, that's another one. Boy, what would he be doing for our program right now? I hate that he's gone because he was so close to me. He was like my crazy uncle, He's like, but as a special teams coordinator, he was a quarterback coach and a special teams coordinator. So you have that leeway. You can have fun during the day. You can cut up and be that guy. I mean, he was a history teacher. He was your crazy uncle. He was like teaching you things that you didn't realize he was teaching you at the time. Like for all of the guys, and hopefully some of my teammates hear this one, Dr. Zeitz over in the ACE program.
Sure.
He was trying to teach some of the same things about life that Bill Stewart was teaching. And we laughed at it for that time because we're all tough, rugged men. Boy, it makes a lot of sense now. Bill Stewart, every time, and I mean this with all due respect, when I see Don Knotts and he's just cutting up, man, that Bill Stewart comes to my mind the next second, right? Just how he could pull you in with his quirkiness.
Yeah.
He was my recruiting guy. He came to watch me play. You know, he met me in the locker room. He came to watch me play basketball. He was riding around on tractors at my house. I mean, this guy had me, and I love him for it. And man, I miss him about every day.
Yeah. Let's jump ahead. Your 07 season, the big Oklahoma game and the Fiesta Bowl. So there's all this turmoil going on within the program. Who's going to be the next coach? Rich is gone. A couple went with him. You guys are getting ready to play Oklahoma. Stu delivers the leave no doubt speech. Did you have any idea the significance of that speech while it was being administered?
No way. And I say that because we got stuck in traffic on the way to the game. And Tony, you probably remember. Were you on one of those buses?
No, I get there a little earlier. But
okay. So we were probably stuck in traffic for we were at least, I'd say, 45 minutes to an hour late. And if you tell that to an athlete to try to work through his superstition, Brad, a baseball guy, you know all of this.
With you.
That's a tough ask. So you're scrambling, trying to get your mind right. And I don't really think when we went out to play Oklahoma, we even had time to think about what we were doing that day. I didn't even really hear his speech in that locker room. Excuse me. And I think I've told you guys this before because we did the Fiesta Bowl game not too long ago, Tony.
right.
But the speech that I remember is the Owen Schmidt speech the night before. When you're in that moment, you know, you're really, when we point back to Rich and speaking proverbially for a second, it's like a split family home, right? But the kids have grown enough where they can rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't necessarily need their parents in that moment. We were those kids. We were so ready and we loved each other so much that it was this surreal moment where we knew who we were. We had enough guys stay behind to be loyal to us and the program, so we had all the confidence in the world to go in and win that game. But now when I listen back on that speech today, man,
Gives you chills.
that guy's special. Yeah, Bill Stewart's
This is
special.
one of the great all-time.
Yeah, it is.
Speeches.
Yeah, it is. When you were playing against Oklahoma, here's Sam Bradford. Here's the Sooners.
Hadn't been sacked all year, right?
Yeah.
What that the Bradford thing?
That massive percentage. So you're in there and you're queuing this thing up. When did you have a sense that what you guys were doing defensively with the odd stack had them befuddled?
I think it was difficult for offenses, especially in that day when we're talking more, and again, some football talk, 12, 13 personnel. We're lining up with, 2 back sets or multiple tight ends and grounded and pounded. People didn't expect to see us line up in an odd stack. I mean, what were we thinking? That we were going to, I was a 230-pound linebacker, and I was going to go butt heads with 330-pound guards. Does that make sense? Is Oklahoma scared of that? Of course not. But what they don't take into consideration is our agility, our ability to misdirect and move in different directions. And we had success with the odd stack throughout our time in WVU because of those things. It wasn't just Oklahoma. It was everybody. And the Big East, man, was physical back in the day. My body can attest. So we were proven, and we were preached every day that if we didn't get up there and stop the run first, that it wouldn't matter what they were trying to do through the air because that's who we know Oklahoma to be. I'm really glad we got Sam Bradford young.
Yeah.
He could have been a different guy 2 years down the line, but if you look across that roster, the level of NFL talent, even up front, I can't remember the names. I know Moldholt was there.
Yeah, Lodeholt.
I think left tackle, and Johnny Dingle was giving him fits. And it's just when you don't give your opponent the level of respect that they deserve, they can exploit you. And I think Oklahoma it was a grave misstep in their program's history when we went out there and beat them that day.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back one game before that one. Okay, so everything's all puppy dog tails and rainbows and ice cream. The Pitt game on December the 1st. You were busy. You had 11 tackles in that game, but obviously that one will also be remembered. Do you think about it much? Do you not think about it? Have you ever gone back and watched it?
You know those memories in your personal history that you're just kind of blacked out, where you remember bits and pieces of it. I think for a lot of us, we did some of those things. I have specific images in my mind. I remember a specific embrace with Owen, where we're both in tears, and we know we just slipped up on an opportunity that our school may never have again. I remember moments after the game when, and I lived with McAfee, when our apartment, our townhouse was being bombarded with, liquor bottles and, threats and car horns throughout the course of the night. So, man, it was difficult. That one was, as you try to frame it in your mind, that is going to be a very difficult memory for all of us. It is so different. The week before, we got a UConn team at home and just throttled them, right?
Yes.
So we're like, we're going to the national championship. And I think we got ahead of ourselves. And I think Rich gets an unfair blame for the loss, that he wasn't in tune. I think that defensively, they had a great game plan. They were stacking the box with 11 guys, I think, at times. They had Shady McCoy. They fed him the ball 40 times, so it was a grudge match. And they turned it into a mud fight and did a great job. So Pitt has to be given credit there. Should we have won that game? Yes. But without it, we don't go out and win the Fiesta Bowl. So you always try to find and shine it a little bit to try to give it that positive outlook that we need to continue to go on and move forward and continue to grow ourselves and our program at any given time.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up, but before we let you go, what would you like? I don't know where you're registered for the wedding, but among the three of us, what
Southern
item?
States. He's registered to Southern States.
That LP bill is pretty high.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like us to can we get you a silo? What can we get you?
Nice
Something?
silo reference.
Can we get you something like that?
Oh my goodness! I just priced a new grain silo, guys. I would not ask that of anyone. What I would ask of you guys is a continued friendship that I've been fortunate enough to receive from you. I've really enjoyed the time. It's been special, man, and we could, like I said, we could go on this thing in many different ways, but I was very fortunate to be at WU in the time that I was there, and as I look back, much like my time in Moorefield, I don't know if it'll ever be done again. So thank the good Lord above for allowing that to happen for not only me, but for all the guys around me that made me so much better than I expected I could ever be.
That's awesome. So well stated. You're the best, buddy. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on the upcoming nuptials, and look forward to seeing you in the not-too-distant future.
Man, you guys are the best. Keep up the good work. I'll be listening to you on the tractor this evening.
You got a deal. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
Take
Reed.
care. There he is, Reed Williams.
All right.
You bet. Bye-bye. So, that'll kind of be surreal today, because tonight he's on the tractor. He'll be listening to himself.
Yeah, which he's on it. He does that.
Oh, I know.
He listens. Hops up there, listens.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Well,
one of the all-time best.
He brought up obviously he listens. He brought up the Jarrett Brown situation that continues to fester. It continues to fester.
It stays with us,
That was our Pitt game.
I was going to say, you keep bringing up the Pitt game, and the Jarrett Brown interview keeps coming up, so that's got to live with it. Highs and lows.
Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Comax Business Systems. They happen to be your full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com. Hey, Tony, why do I need to go to Comax Business Systems?
Well, tell us.
Well, if you're a business owner, you know that every single day you're doing some form of computing within the network of your computers. And, as you well know, you just can't turn them on forever and think, hey, they're going to work just hunky-dory, right? Like For example, Reed's not going to go in there and just think his equipment's going to work the same every day. You need to be proactive. You need to make sure that everything is cool. Well, that's what Comax can come in and do. They'll give you a complete computer colonoscopy. Is your business safe from viruses, from malware? Would you perhaps be benefited by remote cloud computing where they will come in and take a look inside and help you? They'll do it for you, and they're great West Virginia people. Just tell them 3 guys sent you. Go to comaxwv.com. That's comaxwv.com. That'll be fantastic. How about this?
What?
Before we jump into textual healing, being told that none of the quarterbacks on the Mountaineer football roster entered their name into the transfer portal. That's a surpriser. I don't know what the Hey, remember we were running over/under on that, weren't we?
I think we had 1.5.
Yeah, under. I think under hit. I think the under hit on that.
I'm surprised by that.
So am I. But May 1 is the deadline. Was the deadline, and if you didn't put your name in, then you won't be eligible to play anywhere next fall. So that's kind of interesting.
Can I give you something?
Sure.
Okay. So I looked at all. You know how we say, what do we say about teams? What do you need?
Players.
You need players.
Guys.
Okay. So I looked at all 262 draft picks.
Okay.
And this is a point, not the point, but it's a point. Okay. So 262 draft picks. West Virginia has nobody taken. Now, granted, Brad, you didn't have a lot of seniors on this team, right? But you had nobody taken. There were 75 players taken from non-Power 5 schools. Out of the Big 12, you had 25 players taken. 3 teams did not have any players taken. West Virginia, TCU. You might be stunned by the 3rd team.
Texas.
What do we always say about Texas? Oh,
got players. Got players.
Didn't have a single player taken in the draft.
Don't have guys, apparently.
Yeah, must not.
Not only are they not back, they apparently don't have guys.
They have 22 seniors on the team. Texas does. Didn't have anybody taken. The SEC had the most players taken, 65. Big Ten had 48. Pac-12 and Big 12 each had 25. But I thought it was interesting that we talk about players, but a factor is that you don't have anybody taken in the draft, and 75 players from non-Power 5 schools got taken in the draft.
Yeah.
So that tells you there still is a talent void at West Virginia. Now, some of that's not, Yale had a guy taken, okay, and a lot of other small schools. So, but still, that is not the indicator, Brad, but an indicator.
Yeah, and I think you can back yourself into what you've seen out of the league over the last couple of years, and certainly in West Virginia's case over the last couple of years. You've got to get guys. You've got to develop guys. And I think there's a couple on this roster now that will grow into pros, but you've got to get there. That's a fireable offense for the entire athletic department. They should fire the track coaches at Texas for that too. Fire everybody. How in God's name can Texas not have a player drafted? That is stunning. Now, Big 12 has gone 2 straight years with no first-round draft pick. Right. So that's got to change as well in the league if it wants to get back on there. From a positive standpoint, Big 12 was 3rd overall power conferences in terms of average per team players drafted. So it makes that look a little bit different.
I talked to WVU curator John Antonick, who has written books on Mountaineer football this morning, and he's getting ready to do a piece. But in conversation, he was picking my brain on some. He said, the way I'm tracking this, Neil Brown inherited the fewest NFL players at WVU since World War II.
That would
coaches
be,
come in.
So
that's what he was doing. He's going to have that column out there. You'll see that. You guys ready for some music?
Oh, that's a nice sound.
Yeah.
You know, like that song Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing, not a media song. Textual healing.
I had to double check that Texas fact.
No, yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You guys ready?
Yep.
Texter says, hello! Special guest request. Mountaineer basketball player Emmett Matthews and Andrew Caridi. Love the show. Okay, fine. Some things just don't change. Texter says, was wondering if Brad could do a quick summary of Emmett's interview on Sportsline Friday. Can you give us a Reader's Digest version on that?
Yeah, I can, but also FYI, Taylor, credit to Taylor, went in. Taylor, what's his name? Tanner.
Jonathan Tanner Taylor, Tyler Kennedy Consolidated.
That guy. Went in and uploaded the interview to the podcast platform. So if you're trying to find that on the platforms, the interview itself is there. It was great to talk to him. Talked about coming back and style of play and leadership that he brings, and he likes the guys that have been added in. And he just said he felt a comfort level with Hugs in particular, but with the Coliseum and with the things in the basketball program, and just loved that he went back to Washington for a year.
Right.
But he just felt this was the place for him. Wanted to come back.
It's like Albert Pujols coming back to the Cardinals.
Yeah. Thomas Wolfe said you couldn't go back
Baseball
home again.
reference, but
Yeah, it's pretty good for him. Scope Senator Hoppy, this is Ted in Warrenton, Virginia, also known as the Trains guy. I about spit my coffee out when you all read a text from a skilled rail worker referencing a federal regulatory body in Washington with rail oversight. It is, of course, a show that the diversity of this program and its reach. I am far too familiar with what the gentleman referenced, as it has occupied my work days in recent weeks. Thanks to that man for his work in the industry and knows railroads are working to address the service challenges. On a happier note, just want to say I enjoyed that you had Jarrett Brown on. Can't say I enjoyed the audio quality much.
Well,
I had a summer English class with JB and a few other football players, and Jarrett was the nicest guy you could imagine. And unlike others in our group assignment, he actually did the work.
there you go.
So on behalf of Jared, thank you. Hey, three guys. Has JT Daniels actually signed? I can't find any evidence that he has. Yes, he has. It'll come out this week. Number two, other than Oscar, is there an example of a Mountaineer basketball or football player in the portal era that left West Virginia, went to another Power 5 school, and was a contributor?
There's a handful. We've done this before many times. Scott McBrien was one that comes to mind.
Well, he said portal era. He said portal era.
So recent, last couple years. Sorry.
Anyone of any significance? Tyke Smith got hurt, blew his knee.
Drayshawn Miller didn't.
Never got on the
do
field.
anything.
The one kid. Does a kid go to Illinois? D-line?
yeah, somebody did.
Somebody went to D-line.
Maybe
Illinois.
Josh Sills going to Oklahoma
That would
State
be-
would
well,
be
but
one.
That was pre-portal.
Was that pre-portal? May have been. Right
Was
around
it pre-portal?
May have been.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, when the hell did the portal start then?
I don't know. Texter says, why all the love for hot tamales? Hot tamales are the Darryl Strawberry of candy. You strip away the cool name, and you've got a 260 hitter that strikes out a lot. Sweet Tarts, Skittles, Sour Patch Kids. You can build your franchise around them. I love the show.
Sweet tarts. Get out of here with your sweet tarts, Pete. I'll tell you, Skittles, I'm with you.
I'm surprised he didn't drop us a
Big bag of Skittles. I'll do that.
Surprised he didn't drop us a Lick-A-Maid reference. You ever have Lick-A-Maid?
No.
You never had Lick-A-Maid?
No, never heard of it either.
Oh, dude, we got to
Is
get
that things
that.
with a stick when you stick it in the powder?
Yeah, Lick-A-Maid.
I had it, but that's not what they were called. I don't know what they were called.
Texter, hello, three guys. I'm the trifling hot dog vendor in Philadelphia, texting you. I've been pondering something about NIL. What is it to stop schools from bringing in a walk-on athlete, then go on to sign NIL deals shortly after enrolling that just so happen to be in the amount that is the exact cost of tuition? So let's say Hugs finds another player in the portal that could help the team even though we are at the scholarship limit. Could this be a potential loophole to effectively go beyond the NCAA scholarship limit?
To have a loophole, you have to have rules.
Yeah, so to answer your question, could you bring a walk-on on? Yes. Could that walk-on be eligible for NIL? Yes. Could he or she get enough NIL to offset the cost of tuition? Yes, you could. You could do all that. Realistically, in the sport of basketball, I mean, schools aren't going to keep more than 15 cats. And to be quite honest with you, realistically, I mean, that wouldn't, I mean, yeah, I guess you conceivably could do that.
I think I have this right, unless it's changed. Also, if you're not a scholarship athlete, you're not going to get that $6,000.
That is correct. You are not, as of right now.
Yeah.
Some schools are. Some schools are. West Virginia's not. Hey, three guys, could a school use NIL money to add scholarships, and would the scholarships count against the scholarship limit? Also, do you see NIL contracts to be based on performance? No, you'll never see it based on performance. That's the big thing right now. You're not supposed to be any quid pro quo. You come here and we'll get you the money.
That's obviously not true, though.
I know it's not true, but you're right.
So I mean, that's just don't say it again. Just don't stop saying that.
All right,
It's obviously not true.
how it will be linked to performance.
Well, you're not it's not supposed to be pay. It's supposed to be linked.
It's not supposed to be pay for play,
Which it is now. I mean, guys are going now.
Texter Brad from episode.
I mean, that's just not true. I mean, it may not go in and have the incentive-laden contracts. You throw for 15-plus touchdown passes, you get X. But you think you're going there for non-performance reasons? Is there pay-for-play now? The non-pay-for-play is what West Virginia announced. Eligible academically, and you receive the money. That is not pay-for-play. Pitt's Biletnikoff Award winner that's reportedly on his way to USC, which, by the way, Christmas came early for West Virginia. If the Biletnikoff Award winner from Pitt on your way, good.
Yes.
Oh, good. Go on up. Lincoln Riley's got a $20 billion, I don't know if that's exactly right. Got to check real estate. $20 billion, $50 billion house, something like that Lincoln Riley has.
$32 billion. Go
Go out there and sign Addison. Get out. That helps West Virginia. That's pay for play, Hoppy.
Okay.
I mean, that it might not be tied to catching 12 touchdown passes. That's pay for play. That shouldn't be happening, but it is. So,
Brad.
let's go.
This is Brad from episode number 174. Here, that was the Missouri game preview. You'll be happy to hear, with much thanks to your helpful advice, I was not late for my own wedding and have been happily married now to my wife, Andrea, for over 2 years. We are expecting our first child, a little girl. I met them Saturday night.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
At the Kroger?
No, I was at the WVU Cancer Gala at the Greenbrier.
Oh.
I was on my way out of the room for the night, and they tapped me, and they said, the music was still on, and three guys, Missouri, and they pointed to his wife, and they showed me, got a little baby bump. Anyway, with that said, I must ask for your advice again, Brad, with a mid-September due date. What steps do you recommend that we take to attend the September 1st game and the home opener? Also, what are some strong Mountaineer names to consider? All advice is welcome and appreciated. Well, if it's a mid-September delivery, I would no problem for the opener. September 1.
Yeah. Should be good.
I think you're
kind of closer.
It's a baby girl.
Kind of close.
Now they want some names. Some names for Meg. I think you go Meg and Kate. I think you go Claire Santucci. She was fantastic. Great All-American runner.
Jenny.
Just had Jenny on.
Kitty. In honor of Miss Kitty.
Kitty Blakemore.
Catherine. You can call her
Go
Kitty.
Catherine and go Kitty.
No, Nikki for Nikki Izzo Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, those would probably be our top five.
Those are good.
Hello, three guys. I can't thank you enough for the service you provide to Mountaineer fans. I'm a first responder. I use this podcast as a way to clear my mind from what I have seen and dealt with after my shift. It has become invaluable to my mental health.
Did you see Brad Paisley?
I did.
Talk to him?
I didn't know. I did. I was about.
His people?
His dad was there. Doug was there.
Yeah.
He just literally, it was awesome, as usual. He just, they introduced him. I was like 2 tables away, and he just walked up, and he's just
Started going.
Well, he's funny too. You know, he does a
yeah.
great job starting a song, between songs. Very funny. Basically, he made a comment like, I have a degree from Belmont University, but now I have been given an honorary doctorate degree at WVU. And to be quite honest with you, for my dad over there, that's the only degree that matters. He said he hadn't been happy until I had something with that flying WV on it. So, yeah, it was great.
He's done, Brad Paisley, he's done okay?
He's doing all right.
Is he?
I think he's doing, he's playing clubs.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing.
2 shows a night?
2 shows a night, yeah, he's playing clubs. But it was the first time he had met Neil.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first time he'd ever met Neil. And they spent some time together before he came out on stage. And, he had some fun with that, too. Last text, Michael Mounts, Garden City Beach, South Carolina, by the way of Williamson, West Virginia. My question is, has there ever been a player of any WVU sport that's transferred, then returned to play against us with as much fanfare surrounding the situation as Jalen Bridges? Maybe I can't place it, but for me, I can't recall. The Coliseum will be a lively place, to say the least, when Baylor comes to town next season. Thanks all guys for the hard work. Let's go.
That'll be a big one. Interesting, good atmosphere. I'll go back to McBrien. Yeah. I might just answer McBrien for every question in this episode. One of these I'll get right. Scott McBrien, West Virginia, played them in the bowl. Wasn't here.
Played us 6 times in one season.
Yeah.
Didn't go well.
And was 6-0.
That was, I think, within argument, we could do a whole show on that. Like, was that the greatest of all time? The way he came back and just dealt.
Yeah.
He just dealt.
2 quick portal notes. Here within the last, right as we started recording, you got the let's go from Neil Brown.
Hang on one second, please. This portal update on 3 Guys Before the Game, our portal provider is Burdett Camping Center. They're the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com.
The RV and go to
And they would be happy to replace a window on one of their RVs and put in a portal.
Well, they might be on their way to pick up the latest addition from Georgia Tech, a defensive lineman. Rivals reporting defensive lineman Mike Lockhart has said yes to the Mountaineers.
Yeah, what's up?
Defensive lineman.
Got any domestics on him as far as...
We'll hit it tonight on Sportsline. Tune in. One other note. Former Mountaineer on the move.
Who?
Teddy.
Theodore Allen. Someone has to do the math on how Theodore has eligibility left, and I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Wichita State, but he didn't play.
Wichita.
Then a JUCO. Then to Fred at Nebraska. Then to my guy Chris Jans at New Mexico State.
And now another school.
Apparently has a year left.
What is
is he having to sit out?
Where did Jans go?
Mississippi State.
So he follows Jans, right?
I would think.
I mean, Jans lets him shoot every time he touches it. Don't have to guard.
Jans going to let you shoot every time you get it in the SEC? I don't know.
So he's...
But how's he eligible?
Well,
By the way,
because
you have to sit out? Is he a grad transfer?
No, it's all good.
I mean, that's
he has the journeyman designation.
He absolutely does.
Yes.
I mean, there's no sitting. How can you be on your 6th school?
Why can't you be? There are no rules.
You know what? Maybe you get them back.
You need scoring. I'm not sure that one's coming back.
There's more coming.
I'm not sure that one's coming back.
There are more coming, though. All right, 3 Guys Before the Game brought to us by Comax Business Systems, full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxlev.com, and by the official sponsor of the NCAA Portal, Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com.
Could you get him on just an as-needed basis? So let's say wherever he is now, they're off. And you could bring him in.
Teddy's off on Wednesday. We got him. Doesn't have to play again until Friday. All right, man. We're back sometime. 3 Guys Before the Game. Special thank you to Reed Williams for joining us. For our producer, Jonathan Taylor County, Tyler Consolidated, Kennedy. We be out. Thanks for listening to 3 Guys Before the Game. Episode 374 completed.